In this budget in particular, we had mentioned about the basic customs duty which has been reduced and on specific items. Together with the production linked incentives given for mobiles, India now already produces 97% of all the total mobile phones in demand in the country. And 30% of total production in India in the year 24 has gone for exports exclusively. So, India's production-linked incentive scheme stands out as a successful scheme, taking this one example, and in the other 13 sectors, 14 together, 13 sectors also, we see a lot of interest in investing and producing so that India becomes a manufacturing hub. The production-linked incentive scheme, which was brought in because we wanted to attract a lot of investment into India, is seeing a lot of interest and continues to see a lot of interest in investors. Further, in this budget, we also set up a critical mineral mission for domestic production and for recycling of critical minerals. We also are envisaging overseas acquisition of critical mineral assets. Further, we fully exempted customs duty on 25 critical minerals and reduced the basic customs duty on 2 of them. 2 were differentiated from the rest for particular reasons. So reduction in 2 and full exemption for 25 other critical minerals. I've also announced, sir, the development of investment-ready plug-and-play industrial parks in and around 100 cities of India. So that would immediately be a big attraction for people to come and set up businesses, being closer to cities that will enable them to have good skilled workforce to be employed. We are working towards establishing 3 centers of excellence in top education institutions for realizing the vision of Make AI in India and Make AI Work for India. That was mentioned in Budget 22-23. We are further strengthening the artificial intelligence excellence centers being built in top education institutions. So in March 2024, government approved e-vehicle policy to promote India as a manufacturing destination so that e-vehicles with the latest technology can be manufactured in our country. So furthermore, I go back to the point that I had made in 2021 budget about the new public sector enterprises policy, which clearly opened up all sectors in India for private participation also. Public sector will continue in critical core sector and strategically important sectors, but private sector has been now allowed into every sector, none of which is reserved for public sector alone. I take the example of the space sector, sir, here. Opening up has helped, and today space sector startups are receiving funds, and India is now becoming a big hub for space sector innovation and space sector startups. The recent newspaper announcements have been clearly stating the kind of investment interest which is being generated. The figures are not readily available with me, but I know that $126 million funding was received by startups in 2023. But that continues, the flow continues. Further, both in the last year's budget and this year's, sir, we have allocated resources for the National Research Foundation under the National Research Foundation Act of 2023. This time also Anusandhan National Research Foundation has had allocation be made. Last year itself we declared 50,000 crores for over 5 years for research along with private sector. So in these ways we have tried making India an attractive manufacturing destination and given good incentive and impetus for manufacturing to set up business in India. So a brief look at some highlights of the numbers that I want to speak about. The total expenditure in the Union government's budget statement 24-25 is 48.21 lakh crores. The total expenditure in the regular budget 24-25 is 54,744 crores more than that of the interim budget which was presented in 1st February this year. So the highlight that I would like to draw the attention of the honorable members is that capital expenditure is pegged at 11 lakh crores, and this is one of the biggest ever allocation made for capital expenditure, and this shows a 17% increase over the provisional actuals of February of FY 23-24 over the last year. 17% increase over the last year. But in this context, I would like to highlight one important fact about the capital expenditure which happened during the UPA era. Capex allocation was 13.19 lakh crores between 2004-5 to 2013-14. The 10 years of UPA saw 13.19 lakh crores. Whereas during our 10 years ending 2024, the allocation for capital expenditure is 43.82 lakh crores. So the emphasis that we've given, particularly after COVID, for the capital expenditure being one of the very important routes through which the economy revival can be planned, has actually shown result, but the actual numbers are these. So there is also interest among members to know if the transfer to the states has been proper and as has been recommended by the finance commissions. I would like to underline that our unflinching commitment to cooperative federalism, the total resources proposed to be transferred to the state this year, 24-25, is estimated to be 22.91 lakh crores. This actually entails an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores over 23-24. Even compared to last year, it's an increase of about 2.49 lakh crores. Similarly, the outlays for all union territories has also increased from 61,118 crores in 23-24 to 68,660 crores in 24-25. So the states and the union territories are clearly getting in time the resources which are expected to be released for them. Although the budget documents have details of different schemes, I'm moving over to this point about sectoral allocations. So there is this interest to know if the allocations for certain particular sectors have increased or decreased. I would like to just give a comparative picture, sir. Agriculture and allied sectors in 24-25 received 1.52 lakh crores, which is 8,000 crores more than the last year. There is no reduction. Just for comparison, 2013-14, when the UPA government term was over, they had given only 30,000 crore. 30,000 crore then, 1.52 lakh crores now. Sir, education, employment and skilling, 1.48 lakh.
Please, honorable members, Finance Minister is speaking. Please, please. Yes. Honorable Finance Minister.
Sir, 24-25 budget for education, employment and skilling is 1.48 lakh crores, and it is 28,000 crores more than the last year, whereas again 2013-14 it was only 85,000 crores. Women and girls, sir, 3.27 lakh crores in the current budget, which is 41% more allocation, 96,000 crore more allocation compared to the previous year. 96,000 crores it was in 2013-14. Similarly, for rural development, sir, 24-25, the current budget gives 2.66 lakh crores, 28,000 crores more than compared to last year, and it was just 87,000 crores in 2013-14. Urban development, 83,000 crores and 7,000 crores more than the last year, 12,000 crores in 13-14. Health and social welfare, sir, 1.46 lakh crores. Compared to last year, it is 74,000 crores more, 3,000 crore more than last year and 74,000 crores more than 2013-14. So I also already mentioned about the fiscal deficit. I just want to highlight that we had projected 5.1% of the GDP as the fiscal deficit in the interim budget, whereas now, when we presented the regular budget for this year, it has been brought down further to 4.9%, and we aim to reach the deficit below 4.5% next year, sticking to the glide path given in 2021. And it was also said in the budget speech that from 26-27 onwards, our endeavor will be to adhere to a path that ensures that the central government's debt as a percentage of GDP is on the declining trend. Our focus will be on that. So I'd like to mention in this August House that the average weighted average yield, which is broadly the one which corresponds to the average cost of borrowing of the central government's securities, issued during the 10-year period of 2014-15 to 2023-24 is lower by about 60 basis points than the period between 2004-5 to 13-14. This is, and I'm giving a very notional idea, sir, but it helps to put things in perspective. If the borrowings in UPA 1 and UPA 2 were near the rates obtained by us, I know it is determined by so many other factors, market and so on, but if the borrowings in the UPA 1 and 2 were near the rates obtained by us, which could have been possible if they had our policies and our kind of credibility, it would have resulted in notional interest savings of approximately 35,000 crores for the government. Just to bring in the perspective, it can always be questioned saying, oh, how can you bring in notional? But it's a perspective, sir. This points to recognition of this government's fiscal management and the management and this observation, the government's fiscal management prowess is an object. It's an observation of global observers, domain experts, and of course dispassionate economists, that the fiscal management of this government, which is a typical good feature which the Honorable then CM of Gujarat and now PM of country has always maintained fiscal prudence as one of the very important governance principles. Honorable members, therefore, would be pleased to know that with all these governance macroeconomic stability related features, the IMF has recently upgraded India's gross domestic product growth in the year 24-25 to 7%. So from an exceptionally low hit GDP growth during COVID, within a few years to rise to be the fastest growing economy in the world, I think could not have been possible without the hard work and toil of all Indians, irrespective of the sectors in which they are, farmers, workers, informal sector workers, construction workers, and all the entrepreneurs, the MSMEs and so on, and the visionary leadership which has a futuristic vision, because from the front, the Prime Minister leads the economy, we are able to achieve this goal. So I also presented the budget for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. I just want to highlight a few important features before I move on to responding to honourable members' issues which they had raised on the budget. So I'm happy to inform that the concrete steps that have been taken by the Union Territory administration to free itself from the legacy fiscal distress-related issues which they had inherited from the erstwhile state. And this has borne good results. With substantial financial support given by the Government of India, 17,000 crores have been provided as support in the Union budget of UT this year. The fiscal deficit to GSDP ratio of the Union Territory of J&K is estimated at 3% for the financial year 24-25. There is clearly a sign that public finances of UT of Jammu and Kashmir is now back on the rails. The government has worked very hard